Hey guys, Christoph the Polish Geek, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video game review, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because you probably already know how much I love Assassin's Creed franchise. I already reviewed Assassin's Creed Unity, one of my favorite ones, and now time to review another really awesome one, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Unlike Unity though, I can't say Black Flag is underrated because, in contrast to Unity, most people hail Black Flag as their favorite one in the franchise, and for a very good reason. Well, my personal favorites will always be a tie between Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed 2, but Assassin's Creed Black Flag is also very much one of the best ones, and I'll tell you why I love it so much and why it is so awesome.
So this is the new Libertad.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, not only this is one of the best Assassin's Creed games, but also this is very much an amazing pirate game. And who doesn't just love sailing, being a pirate, singing shanties with your crewmates, hunting some sharks, and just engaging in amazing naval battles, or just swimming on the ship on the beautiful Atlantic Ocean? What's just not to love here? When I first played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, when it came out actually, I was at my boarding school in the United States, but I would just come home on Christmas and just play the hell out of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and had such an amazing time. Like just swinging on the rope and boarding another ship or sinking another ship with your cannons is just awesome. This is possibly the best naval game ever, and just roaming the Caribbean and Atlantic Ocean doesn't get boring. I still have those awesome memories how I went home from my boarding school and just turned on my PS3 and boarded Jackdaw with Edward Kenway and just roamed the seas and hunted some sharks and whales and sang shanties with my crewmates.
Captain.
And speaking of Atlantic Ocean and Caribbean, I love it. I generally love oceans and all type of stuff like that, and all the stories on the seas, and the way Caribbean islands and the Atlantic Ocean are recreated is simply amazing. Pirates of the Caribbean movies are some of my favorites. I gave them actually a whole you should be watching treatment. And yes, as I said it then, I very much love all 5 movies. I have a link to that video in the description. I suggest you check it out. It's one of my favorite videos I ever made on this channel. But back to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. The graphics are also amazing, and the blue Caribbean Ocean is so beautiful, and I think it has aged so well. There are also sections in the game where Edward Kenway outright goes and swims under the water to collect some treasure. Those sections are more challenging from the rest of the game because there are sharks that can easily eat you, and because you're in the water you can't really fight them, but they are also some of the best parts of the game. Just looking at the seafloor and sea wildlife and animals and the wrecked ships is amazing, and it looks so gorgeous and still holds up so well. I already talked a little bit about it, but I want to talk about it more because one of my favorite things to do in this game is the harpoon minigame. I really love hunting those wild ocean animals, and among them are hammerhead sharks, humpback whales, killer whales or orcas, bull sharks, but my personal favorites to hunt are great white sharks. And you basically go on your rowboat and you have to hit with your harpoons an animal a couple of times, and then you got it. When I first played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and that's the feeling I know a lot of fans of the series very much shared with me actually, and that feeling was that it was so unique and yet very familiar. It was so different from the previous Assassin's Creed installments in that, as I've been saying, it took place on the seas, and yet it very much felt like it was part of the series. It was different enough to feel fresh, but so similar to very much fit in the series and seem very familiar.
Mr. Bonnet!
The combat in the game is wicked fun. Most of the time it is actually pretty easy, admittedly, especially after you played Assassin's Creed Unity, but it's still a lot of fun and you feel like you're an invincible assassin, even if Edward Kenway technically doesn't become an assassin until last third of the game. But still, again, it's a lot of fun. Pushing enemies out of the ship and into the water is really fun, for example. Or when enemies attempt to shoot at you with their guns, you can actually quickly press a button that lets you use other enemies who are fighting you melee as human shields. And I love the death animations of enemies too. Assassinations are a lot of fun. Generally, in classic Assassin's Creed fashion, you assassinate your enemies in one hit, and if you don't let them see you, sometimes you end up fighting them, but generally, it's a pretty easy battle, as I've been saying. Edward Kenway is really powerful, but it's just so much fun and makes you feel so badass. And the stealth in this game, especially after you've played Unity, is also pretty easy, because it's like when you tail your enemies and walk around and eavesdrop on their conversation, which are pretty interesting, by the way. It's really interesting to be listening to their conversation and getting to know more details about your targets. But in Assassin's Creed Unity, generally, if they turn around and saw you, you were done with it, you were done. But here, in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, kind of like in the fashion of even older Assassin's Creed games, basically it's like they turn, look at you, get a little suspicious, but as soon as you hide in the bushes, it's like they completely forgotten you were there. While it's objectively not realistic and it's hard to believe that they already didn't figure out that you're right there, oh well, video game, suspend your disbelief.
Forged and one on the battles.
I also really love customization in this game, because in this game you actually have to upgrade your ship, Jackdaw, because as you engage in naval battles with other ships or with forts on the Caribbean, you also very much have to upgrade Jackdaw, or else it won't really withstand the fire from the enemies, who are getting stronger as you proceed further in the game.
They got help incoming! With the ideals from long range! Fire! Ready, sir! Damn! Fire!
And yes, as I've been saying, there is a lot of ship roaming, but that doesn't mean that there is no classic Assassin's Creed in the form of roaming around the city as an assassin in Assassin's Hood. I mean, there isn't a big city like Florence or Rome or Paris, but there are many smaller towns within the Caribbean region, and they play in a classic Assassin's Creed fashion, and I love how immersive they are and how much it very much feels like golden age of piracy in the Caribbean recreated into the video game. I already said in my Assassin's Creed Unity review that there isn't much parkour in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but there actually is some. Like, there are roofs on those small Caribbean towns, and I think parkour here is great, even though there is certainly not so much of it. I think the balance between being on the sea and being on land in towns is wonderfully balanced. Although I do admit that I don't really synchronize viewpoints here all as much, because I just really don't find the need. What I still haven't talked about, but I really need to, because another amazing thing about this game is the story. And the story is great, and Edward Kenway is one of the best Assassin's Creed protagonists. He's probably the second only after Ezio Auditore, either Edward or Cassandra from Odyssey. Still, story of Edward Kenway is amazing, and it's so relatable. He starts out as a typical selfish pirate, but he goes on an amazing journey and becomes a principled and caring man, and finally, he joins Assassin Brotherhood. Unlike his grandson Connor, whose belonging in the Brotherhood kinda felt forced, at least for me, Edwards feels very natural and genuine, and the supporting characters are also very well written and you truly connect with them as you play as Edward. And one of the best characters is Edward's best friend Adewale. His friendship with Edward Kenway is so well written, and his Jackdaw being the only place he felt he truly belonged was such an amazing writing too. And Adewale gets his own DLC, Freedom Cry, which is good, but base game is better. Still, I think Freedom Cry is still well worth some extra money. There are some historical figures from the golden age of piracy, and they are Edward's allies, most of them at least. There is Mary Reed, who at first in the game introduces herself as James' kid, although you can tell she's really a woman right away, at least I could. And she's very integral to Edward's arc of becoming an assassin, and she's actually the one that introduces him to the Brotherhood. There is also Blackbeard, Edward Teach. His portrayal here though is very different from the evil incarnate portrayal in Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, according to legend in the game, he's considered pure evil, but the real Edward Teach turns out to actually be one of the most noble and likable characters in the game. And the new Templar Grandmaster Laureano de Torres Ayala is one of the most interesting Templar Grandmasters ever. He's so calm and physically weak, yet he feels so powerful and intimidating, and when you look at the man, this guy truly feels power. Although he isn't quite as evil as Templars in some other Assassin's Creed games, like in Unity or in Assassin's Creed 2, this guy actually feels like a complex man who truly believes in the Templar cause, and some of his underlings are actually worse. Assassin's Creed Black Flag has a really phenomenal cast of characters, and it nicely combines historical characters and fictional. At the launch, some people were saying that Assassin's Creed Black Flag was a great pirate game but not much to do with an Assassin's Creed lore. But I'm really glad this idea seems to have died out for most of the time, because it is simply not true. Like, the Assassin's Creed lore is very much implemented into the game, and it plays a gigantic role in the story. Yes, Edward doesn't become an assassin until last third of the game, but in my opinion, it makes perfect sense in context of the story, and it was really nice to have some change in the format. What is ironic though about it is that Edward actually gets his assassin robes almost in the very first 30 minutes of the game, in contrast to Ezio, who got his robes like after a few hours of gameplay, while Connor got them almost after first third of the game. Edward gets them almost when you start playing the game. And how is that? He kills an actual assassin, former assassin, since Duncan Walpole technically turned into a Templar, but still Edward just kills him and steals his assassin robes. And then throughout the whole game, he wears them, despite the fact that not only he isn't an assassin, he's not even on good terms with the Brotherhood at first. But doesn't change the fact how cleverly done it is.
You who carried out his final betrayal. Why?
I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag is amazing and it holds up so well to this day. No wonder so many people hail it as their favorite Assassin's Creed game, because it truly is one of the best. It feels both fresh and familiar at the same time. It is both a great Assassin's Creed game and a great pirate game at the same time. As much as I love Assassin's Creed franchise though, I do feel it's time for the franchise to retire. Not that it will though, especially that Shadows is in the making, although I'm not even gonna bother playing that. The franchise has declined in quality anyway already, and not only I won't bother playing Shadows, the best I think I may do is a long video of why I'm not playing it, but yep. Assassin's Creed is another franchise that I'm very much done with. But that does change the fact that there are still amazing games in this franchise of the past, and I'm going to very much keep reviewing them for you all. Next Assassin's Creed game I'm going to review, well, either Origins or Odyssey, one of those two. I'm not sure which one I will review for you next, but yes, either Origins or Odyssey are next in line for a review. But ladies and gentlemen, Thank you for watching this video game review. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.